Welcome friends to my journey through Elden Ring as I seek out all the bosses to kill them all and find the most disgusting one. And I think I found it. It's not even a boss. It's a stupid common enemy. It's like two hands together that looks like a spider. It's disgusting. So disgusting. Welcome back, classy crew, to another Elden Ring Journal. I believe we're at number 8 as I journey through Elden Ring to kill all unique bosses. That's the pledge. I am now at 26 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus 6. 32 unique bosses have been felled. Lots of progress last week. Killed 7 bosses, made my way around Liurnia. I'm going to recount it all for you. And we're going to get to the stupidest part of this thing. I met some gross things. The bosses looked fine, but I met a tentacle monster. I met some spider monsters that weren't spiders, but their hands, which are probably worse. I didn't know that there were worse things than spiders. Like, what's creepier than a spider? Just replace the legs with fingers and put some hair on that stuff. The way they move, the way they touch you, it has like the creepiness of a bug with the creepiness of a molest. So when I was, last time we explored Eastern Liurnia, I believe, and a little bit of Western. This past week, I decided I needed to explore the rest. So when I started, I saw where the map was in West Liurnia, and it's like, it was in an area a little bit to the northwest. I was like, well, I can't go through that way. For some reason, I thought I couldn't. Turns out you can. So I'm like, well, what if we go back to the academy, cross the bridge, and try to work our way around? Because I thought it was all on a cliff. So that's what I did. I crossed the bridge, and there I encountered our first boss of the night, which was another night cavalry. This was my second one. Now, people made fun of me for fighting the first one on a horse. I said, all right, chat, we're going to get off this high horse. We're going to fight him with our blood or whatever, our sword on legs, and we left the night cavalry on his horse, so he died. Damn. Next, I went. There were 2 paths. I could go down into towards like a cave system, or I could go and do a fortress. I ended up doing both. But first, I went to the cave. This is where I made my way through the cave and lifts. Made my way up this cliffside. That's where I found a big tentacle monster, which was super creepy. I've seen these across the land, but I never got close to one. This one looked like, I thought it was just a ball with tentacles, but no, there's like a pulsating butthole in the middle, and I was like, that's enough. But no, inside the pulsating butthole comes a beak, and the beak like squawks at you. It looks like the Sarlacc from Star Wars Return of the Jedi, special edition specifically. They didn't have a beak in the original. And so I kept going until I found a boss. Was not expecting a boss through this whole cave system. So I was a little bit worried because I didn't level up. By the way, throughout this whole journal, I'm between level 43 and level 50 roughly. So Magma Worm Makar was the first unique boss. Super scary boss. I'm like, oh no. But he turned out to be super easy because he just kept spewing lava in the wrong direction. And I was like, all right, you do your thing. You spew your lava. I'm going to slice you on this side. And so he didn't really attack me. I didn't get hit by many of his attacks. And I just sliced and diced them. So up I went, and I thought I was at the top of the Liurnia like cliffside, so I could go west. And everyone's like, no, Jay. Nope, you're lost. You went the wrong way. You're leaving Liurnia. I was like, what are you talking about? This is the way. And then, of course, the text appeared on screen where it says, welcome to Altus Plateau. And I was like, oh, well, this is not where I want to be. So I sat by the fire. My buddy Melina came up, and she started talking about herself again because she never asks about how I'm doing or how I've been since the last time we chatted. It's always about her. So from this point, I tried a boss, or not a boss. I tried an enemy, and I was like, all right, they're kind of chunky, but maybe I should finish my business in Liurnia before I keep exploring this Atlas Plateau. So back I went to across the bridge to go to the other path to the fortress. There I got assaulted by catapults, which I did not appreciate. So I stealthed my way there, and then I killed all of the catapult launchers, and then I explored everything only to find that's a dead end. I think I need my medallion to ride the lift here. So as you remember last journal, I found half the medallion, have not found the other half, so I cannot use the lift. I don't have the special privileges. So I just went west, and I ended up being in the exact area I wanted to be. I'm like, why didn't I just try this in the beginning? Instead of going east to go north to go west, which didn't work, you just go west to go west. It's silly. So from there, I met, I decided I was going to focus on cleaning up that whole area. So that includes a jail. And then there's also the Carian manor, which is where we found all manner of... The jail held another boss, which was Bowles, the Carian Knight. I can tell you, he was quite the ballsy boss. I'm trying too hard with these jokes. All right, so he fell pretty easily. He was a big giant with a big sword, and I was a little guy with a big sword. So, like, honestly, the bosses, I'm either over leveled or using the right weapon. They're not really, they're fun challenge. They're not wall challenge, and I'm okay with that. We don't need too many walls. So I went to the 4 belfries, which is like 3 or 4 towers that all have portals. There's definitely 4 towers, but I think there might be 3 portals. So I went into the first one, which took me to a place with a lot of tornadoes called the Crumbling Farumazula. This place was absolute pain. I encountered, first of all, you're jumping on things floating in the sky, which is never a good sign. And the second thing is I can barely hurt the enemies, and they do like half health bar damages to me on each swing. So that was not a fun place. I lost all my runes. I'm not going back there anytime soon. Found a grace, and then someone said, go into this portal. This is the safe portal. I'm like, all right. So I went to the Chapel of Anticipation, anticipating what I would find. So there, that took me back to the opening area where I got my very first death from the grafted scion. It was time for some sweet, sweet revenge on this thing. So I slapped this boy silly, and we killed the grafted scion, taking our count up to another 3. So we were at 29 at that point. Once I was done with the grafted scion, made my way back to where I was with the 4 belfries. I can't get into the 3rd portal because I'm missing a key to get it. You need like a special unique key. I only have 2. There's 3. So I kept making my way north. There I came across some ruins. I was guided a little bit to find a hidden path under the ruins, and that is where I came across probably the worst boss I have ever encountered in this game. I have to admit, this thing sucked. It was called the Royal Revenant. Whoa! Bloodborne flashbacks. I couldn't tell where the head and the arms were because it had probably too many of those limbs, and it screamed all the time, and it comboed, and it flailed at me, and I'm just like, no! Come on! I hate these things. Why must they scream? And why must they be so aggressive while they scream? So I died a lot of times to this thing. Eventually I learned the pattern, got patient, and it died. Then things got interesting. So I met a lovely giant called Master Iji. He was quite nice. Didn't really do anything about him. He warned me about, if you go into the manor, there's some Carian manor, there's some spells that are going to try to stop you. So I ran through all of this like raining magic, made it into Carian manor, met the hands, hated the hands, dealt with the hands. Oh man, I hated that. And then once I got through the hands, it was a little bit more comfortable to navigate everything. But man, those things suck. And I made it to a boss called the Royal Knight Loretta. Now, this seemed like a very significant boss fight, and I was kind of surprised that I just casually walked up. Like, I felt like the dungeon was not as long as I was expecting it to be. I was expecting a much bigger dungeon. I don't know if this counts as a dungeon. So the Royal Knight Loretta was awesome fight. I died once, but I loved her attacks. I loved her combos even. Just all her movements were so good. And I knew how to dodge them, and when I screwed up, like, I really felt like it was my fault, as you do in these games usually. But it was so fun, just like rolling through all her magic attacks, closing the gap, smacking her, running away because she's got a really long weapon, and killed her. And yeah, she just seemed like a very important piece to the whole like lore puzzle. I don't know what her role is other than being a royal knight, but this place seems very special to the lore of the region. So just beyond that is the Three Sisters, where we got 3 towers and a ton of lore. But before that, I had to kill the Glintstone Dragon. No, I did not have to kill it. I had to fight the Glintstone Dragon, Ajula, my 3rd dragon. And I was having some fun with it, and then it just flew away. It didn't want to play with me anymore. It kind of sucked. So up the tower I went, Renna's tower, and there I met Renna, who I had forgotten her name. But this is the lady who gave me the bell to use the summons, which I don't use. And she told me about the scheme. Now we're getting into some stuff. So she seems to be scheming to ruin the thing about the tarnish, which reminds me of what Dark Souls games always do. They're like, yes, you can fulfill your goal of doing whatever you're doing, like extending the age, or you can say F you to what everybody's been telling you, and you can do things my way. So I'm like, oh, let's see where this goes. So I pledged myself to her. She told me, cool, go talk to my buddy Blade. I think Blade, I forget his name. Celivis, and then we can get stuff done. So, oh, and EG. EG's her boy as well. So I met Celivis. Huge jerk. This guy's like a mage with something stuck up his butt. And anyways, I'm like, yo, I'll do a favor for you if that'll make you nicer. So he's like, bring this potion to Nefeli, I believe is her name. And I was like, well, this looks suspicious. So whatever, I'm all for doing side quests. So I went to bring it to Nefeli, but first I talked to her father and I was like, yo, do you know anything about this potion? He's like, that's what he's up to. I don't care what you do, but you could probably just give me the poison instead. I was like, oh, decisions. What do I do? I was going to fulfill the side quest. So I went to give it to Nefeli, but I couldn't. The game wouldn't let me. So I think something happened where I progressed her quest too far and I could not give it to her. So my only choice was to give it to Sir Gideon. So I gave it to him and he chucked the I don't know what he's doing with the potion. But anyways, Sullivan thinks I gave it to Nefeli. I lied to him and he's all like, I'm in his good books now. So that's where we are with Sullivan. Meanwhile, Blade is apparently waiting for me in that underground place that I saw in my first stream. I'm like, whoa, I was supposed to go there when I was level 50? Well, now let's try that again. And he's looking for the hidden city of Nokron. So now I'm like, all right, I'm all down for going back to the beginning. I can't believe I was in that area at like level 10 and I was trying to find my way around. I was trying to revive a moose at that point. You remember Journal 1? Maybe it's Journal 2. So that's where I went, headed out to go see our friend Blade, and haven't met him yet. I'm back to trying to find the lanterns to summon the moose. It's gonna revive the moose, I just know it. But instead I ran into a Dragonkin soldier. Huge boss, really slow, but still so fun to fight. Killed him, he didn't kill me. It was just a fun fight to run around him, and like if you got hit by his attacks, he hits super hard. I just love epic fights like this. The thing is, the bosses, sure, they're easier, or maybe my skill's better, but man, they're just so much fun. Like I have a lot of fun with them. And that's where I ended the stream. So that's where my journey has taken me so far. I think I'm just about done with Liurnia. Anyways, I'm on a new direction. I'm out of Liurnia now. I know that there's the Atlas Plateau as my next destination, but let's go see if we can find this hidden city, because that sounds pretty cool. I like the direction all of this is going. So that's where we are. 32 bosses have been felled that are unique. In total, I'm at 37 bosses. I believe there's 140 all in. I think we have the definite count now. So I'm like, hey, if I'm going to kill all the uniques, I might as well maybe just kill all the bosses while I'm at it. So I'm tracking both now, and I'll be back at it on stream tonight on a Tuesday, or I'll see you on the next journal. So until next time, classy friends, keep it classy. Do 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 do. Subscribe.